thought it would be useful to just hop back on and see what's going on, see if we can observe any major breakouts or corrections, see if it happens live. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to post this a couple different places, so just bear with me for about 1 second. And I like how someone said first, and they're like the 11th person to comment or something. All right, let me just post this. I'm just gonna post this in the chat so I can in the Telegram chat so people know I'm streaming. So I'm just gonna do that, and then we will jump in. All right, maybe one more place. All right, so I actually just recorded a video. I haven't posted it yet, but I'll probably end up posting it later. But let's go ahead and kind of see what's going on. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin has rallied back up to that local top that we've had for a little while now. And if we zoom in, I mean, sometimes you actually have to zoom into the 1 hour time frame. We don't like using 1 hours. When we're watching price movement this quickly, it's hard not to kind of see, want to see what it's doing. And you can see that this has basically been our level for about a week now, right? If we just draw from top of this candle over, this is essentially where we have been 3 times. Okay, so here, and now here. And now, of course, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys are screaming, ascending triangle. Yeah, you can draw these types of patterns. But remember, I mean, it's all based. I would never trade something like this, of course, in terms of like trying to figure out if these moves can actually be timed. But I do think it's sometimes interesting just to kind of see what the price is doing in the short term, just to kind of see, okay, well, this is where we have found some resistance the last 2 times. But I mean, there's kind of came up to the top, came back down, back to the top, back down, back to the top. So we'll see, right? I mean, it's at the top, of course, by definition, where we could theoretically see a breakout and continuation higher. But I just want to warn people, remember to stay pragmatic about this. Let's not get too carried away and think that it necessarily has to break this in the short term. But, if it does, hopefully it happens while we're on stream, because I seem to be really good at missing major moves on stream. Actually, I found, too, that if I do come on stream during a rally, a lot of times that's when the rally stops. So hopefully we can see this rally on up higher. But if not, that's fine. And one of the things I did want to draw your attention to, as always, is, okay, well, where's our 20-week? Just keep it in the back of your mind, right? It's not that we're going to necessarily visit it tomorrow, but let's just be a little bit cognizant of where is the 20-week moving edge, because we know that that's our bull market support, right? So in a bull market, even if we are in a bull market, which there's a good chance we are, right? I mean, Bitcoin's rallying. Even if it's not a multi-year bull market, we're still in at least a smaller bull market at the very least, right? A rally from 3,800 to 16K over a little over half a year certainly seems, like a bull market to me. Whether it's a multi-year bull market remains to be seen. But we'll see. Let me see something. Let me just check the chat. Huh. Ollie says, why do you guys watch the price? Just buy and chill. Dude, you're watching a YouTube video that's watching the price, and you're asking people why are they watching the price. You're watching someone else watch the price. So I thought that was funny. Okay, so just to keep in mind, where's the 20-week? Let's just keep it in the back of our heads. It's at $11,450 or so. But remember, it's increasing quickly. This is a good thing, right? I mean, if this is a multi-year bull market and we're just kind of kicking it off, the 20-week moving average means that there's at least some level of hope that even during a correction, whenever that might come, there's at least some level of hope that even during a correction, the 20-week moving average could hold the line, which is exactly what it did for 6 weeks just a few weeks ago when we held the line at 9,800, then 9,900, then 10K, then 10.3. We lived through this every step of the way. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember all those videos. You know, that every single week I was publishing a video, maybe more than one on this week of test of the 20 week. So just keep an eye on the 20 week. It's currently at 11,450. However, and I'm going to post a full video on this later, it is increasing by about $300-400 a week. It might increase by more than that if the price continues to rally. So with that in mind, if the price of Bitcoin, if the 20-week moving average is increasing by $300-400 a week, it's only going to take 4 weeks or so for it to be up another $1,500 or so. Okay, and if it's currently at 11.5, another 1,500 will put it at 13K. And so let's just be cognizant of the fact that, you know, this is probably going to continue to go up, right? The 20-week moving average, and even into December. And if the price does cool off, right, then we could see that. I mean, that could be the next support line. If the price continues to rally in the short term, and it continues to do this or something, then obviously the 20-week moving average is going to really get really heated, which might be some concern for holding it whenever we test it if we go up too quickly. So we'll just be a little bit cognizant again of the fact that the 20-week moving average in about a month will be around 13,000. And so if we do correct back down, that would probably be the level that we would want to hold. Maybe somewhere between 12.5 and 13.5. And for those who did not watch the live stream yesterday, I just want to remind you that during the last market cycle, the time between tests of the 20-week moving average, the first 3 times was approximately 10 weeks. So this one was 11 weeks or so. I mean, it depends on exactly what candle you draw it from. You could say it's 10 weeks if you go by the wick, 11 weeks if you go by the candle. So this was approximately 11 weeks between, 12 weeks between, 9 weeks between. So we can say that during the last market cycle, we had approximately 2.5 months between tests of the 20-week moving average, and they range between approximately 20 to 30%. So, I mean, you know, does that make sense? If we were to go up 20 to 30% from here over 10 weeks or so, 2.5 months, that would put us in mid-December. If it was 20% higher than the last test, that would put us at testing at 12.5. If it's 30% higher, that would put us testing at 13.5, which could very well fall right on top of the 20-week moving average if we were to see some remnant of what happened last market cycle. Again, we don't have to see this. We don't have to see any remnants of anything. To some degree, each market cycle is its own, it's its own horse. Like, I mean, it's going to be different. There's going to be differences between each cycle. One key difference is the fact that this market cycle, our first test of the 20-week moving average occurred over 6 weeks. However, during the last market cycle, our first test of the 20-week moving average occurred over about 4 months, right? So this one occurred about over 4 months or so. So there's already some key differences here. They're not going to be identically the same, but just keep an eye on the fact that during the last market cycle, the first 3 tests of the 20-week moving average, 3 to 4 tests, were approximately 2.5 months apart. And so far, we're only about a little over a month out from the last test. So, I mean, the higher this goes, right? Whenever we do come back down and test it, the higher the 20-week will be, just because it's a measure, it's an average of the price. So let's keep an eye on that. Remember, if you guys follow the Ethereum videos, one of the things we spoke about a lot, we made a video, called the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. And it was just that general trend of watching it rally, go up into this bull market support band, a rally, sideways, down, sideways, rally. That's for Bitcoin. So keep that pattern in your head. And then we're just going to take a look at Ethereum. And you can see exactly the same thing playing out, right? we had a rally, and then we had sideways, and then a rally, and then sideways, and then down, and then sideways. And we said, okay, if we're going to follow Bitcoin, it's time to continue moving up. So you can see that same pattern, right? Up, sideways down, sideways up. Same thing with Ethereum. They don't always move exactly at the same time, of course, because when Bitcoin volatility is high, Ethereum can really struggle to keep up. But at the same time, I mean, you know, when Bitcoin volatility does reduce down, Ethereum is very primed, catalyzed to continue this rally. I mean, it's currently at 472. We're a stone throw from $500. If we were to hit the same Ethereum Bitcoin valuation that we hit at the peak in the summer, then we're looking at a valuation of Ethereum around 650. That would be if Ethereum Bitcoin hits 0.04 again. Okay, if it were to hit 0.04 again, then at the current price, Ethereum would probably be around $650. So the primary reason, in my opinion, that Ethereum has not made a substantial move against Bitcoin, again, as we have said, is because Bitcoin volatility remains high, and I mean, now it's even pushing back up against $16,000. So as long as this is the case, I would not expect a major breakout of Ethereum against Bitcoin. Yes, it's going to go up if Bitcoin goes up, but it's more so Bitcoin dragging Ethereum up rather than Ethereum kind of having a true breakout of its own. Okay, if you guys like the content, remember, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. We don't even have 100 likes and we have almost 700 people viewing, so please give the video a thumbs up if you guys like the content, and subscribe to the channel for access or information on future videos. So that's essentially where we are. We'll try to get to questions in a minute. Let me just see the chat, make sure everything's going okay. And so if we take a look at our kind of the grand scale here, and just zoom out and put on our regression band, you can see where we are. Bitcoin has in fact poked its head above our regression band, which we have been in for a very long period of time, right? I mean, the last time that Bitcoin was above the regression band was way back. I mean, I guess it actually slightly went out of it back in February, but only slightly. But it's been, since February, it's been about 40 weeks or so, approximately 40 weeks, 39 weeks, since Bitcoin last had a had a fresh breath of air here. Because I mean, for the last almost 8 months or so, we've been playing in the sandbox down here within our regression band, and we know that our regression band, historically speaking, right, it continues. I mean, has been and will likely continue to be, for this market cycle, our primary reaccumulation zone, right? I mean, this is our macro view. Let me remove the support band. Let me remove the 20 weeks so we can just get a clearer picture of this. And we see it, right? And we see these accumulation phases of Bitcoin. They're pretty easy to spot. They're not. I mean, it's really not as difficult as it might seem, especially if you have more of a macro outlook on the price. But again, accumulation phase. We exited the accumulation phase over here, so we might say, okay, this was the accumulation phase. We also had an accumulation phase here. Maybe we go out of the accumulation phase and then revisit it for a while, right? And then maybe we have another accumulation phase in the market cycle. Again, we're still until we start making a move, up into this kind of no man's land region. We're still playing in the sandbox to some degree. And I mean, yes, a Bitcoin price of $16,000 is incredible, right? I mean, the $16,000 Bitcoin is great. The only thing concerning with the $16,000 Bitcoin is how quickly we've moved there. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do. So we'll see it when the correction comes. I actually did just make a video on talking about this. I'll publish that later. But yeah. So I as I said, I think it's just playing in the sandbox until we really get out into no man's land out here and start pushing towards the upper regression band, and that could take a while. Right, I don't want to give anyone the impression that we're going to start pushing toward it over the next day or two. Right, this is probably going to take a while, and you can see that if you look at the regression band, right, this one was almost an instantaneous move up. Okay, so we left the regression band in January, and then we went to the top of the band over about 20 weeks, so a very short period of time. The next cycle where we left the regression band, we didn't reach the top until 41 weeks later, which was about, I mean, and you can also see the percent gain was a lot less. And if you actually take a trend angle, which depends on the aspect ratio, let's actually measure it from when we exited the band. This one was approximately a 79-degree angle. This one, as measured from the band to the top, was approximately a 65-degree angle. This one was approximately a 59-degree angle. So you can see that the angles from when we leave the band to when we get to the upper regression band, it is decreasing. And so, you know, if we were to project that out yet again, on the off chance that this is the last time we visit our fair value logarithmic regression fits in non-bubble data for the market cycle, on the off chance it is, let's just measure this out and say it's somewhere in the 40s, maybe. I mean, it could obviously go a lot lower. It could be, right? It could be 59 degrees for all we know, and that would actually, if it were 59 degrees, we're essentially talking about peaking at the end of this year. If it were the same, you know, more or less the same angle that we've seen in the past. But again, this would be as measured from the current move, not as measured from when we know we can look back and say, okay, we left it for the last time. Because again, there's a good chance that we come back down and continue sideways for a while before going up, and then from that point we would have to measure it from there and say, okay, well, where does that take us? But if we were to leave it here and not come back, and let's say we go up, you know, 40 something degrees, right? Then it could put us at the end of the year, right? At the end of 2021. I don't think this is going to happen by any means, but I'm just saying, like, that would be if this is our last, you know, this is our exit from the regression band for the market cycle. What I want to warn people against, though, is the idea that this has to be our exit from the regression band, our permanent exit, because we also had an exit in February. We also had an exit in 2019, okay? And in fact, in 2019, we had an exit from the regression band that took us over 100% higher than it. Here we came back into it, we came back up approximately 20%. Here we had another exit of the regression band by maybe 10% or so. Now we've just poked our head above it. We're ready for anything, right? We're ready if it starts moving up, but we want to be a bit pragmatic and say, you know what, it might not, and if it does, that's okay, and it's still business as usual as long as we're holding our Bitcoin bull market support band, right? So this is what we want to hold. By the way, we're still fairly far away from that. You can see the 20-week moving average is at 11,452. If you prefer the 21-week EMA, that's currently at 11,696. So there's a few $100 difference between whether you prefer the moving average, the simple moving average, or the exponential moving average. So I hope that kind of covers, you know, what's going on. And I mean, if you look at Ethereum, we can see that it really is starting to make some moves here. But again, as I said before, this is playing in the sandbox until we really get above, until the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio starts to turn around. Because until that time, you know, Ethereum's just going up because Bitcoin's going up, right? And we want Ethereum to go up because Ethereum wants to go up on its own regard against Bitcoin. And so until that happens, as I said before, this is, you know, it's playing in the sandbox, because the whole idea of holding other coins besides Bitcoin is because you want to see a higher ROI in those other coins. They tend to have higher volatility, so they sure as hell better give you a higher return. Otherwise, what's the point of holding them? So if you ever find yourself, you know, holding a ton of coins and they're giving you super high volatility and they can't even keep up with their ROI of Bitcoin, then why are you holding all these coins? And so this is the general idea with Ethereum, and we've talked about this, you know, potential turnaround point. We're not sure yet if this is going to be the turnaround point or not. What we do know is that the fourth quarter of the year, especially December of the year, as we have said many times, tends to be a great opportunity to buy Ethereum with Bitcoin. and that's we've said this many times. I even left the percent increases on here so you can see them, right? Buying Ethereum in December against Bitcoin has typically resulted in a really good 90-day ROI. Time and time again, we identified the one last year. We saw a modest 60% move against Bitcoin from December. Okay, a modest 60%. Every trend has so far played out, and just like every sub cycle before us, we're seeing a downtrend going into December. And remember, that doesn't mean we're going to hit a lower low. This could have been the low of the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, right? This could have been the low. And it does not mean we have to go lower in December. It simply means that if this trend continues and Ethereum does not see a major breakout over the next few weeks, and Bitcoin is remaining bullish, then in the first quarter of the year, this tends to be when Ethereum rallies against Bitcoin. We've also had some Ethereum rallies against Bitcoin in the summer. Okay, here was one. This was a rally of Ethereum against Bitcoin this past summer. We've had other ones as well. You can see here was a small rally against Bitcoin back in 2018, even during the bear market. We've had other, even earlier on in this life of Ethereum, we've had some pretty major runs of Ethereum against Bitcoin. You can see here was another major one that took place in April, May, and June of 2017. So first quarter of the year tends to be really good for Ethereum as measured against Bitcoin. Also, the summer tends to be really good of Ethereum measured against Bitcoin. The primary time that it doesn't, it tends to not be a great time, is as you get closer to the end of the year, because you can see during the end of the year, Ethereum tends to bleed against Bitcoin. Whether it's a bull market or a bear market, whatever it is, Ethereum tends to bleed against Bitcoin during the last part of the year. So here was the one back in the last year, and then this is the one we're seeing now. So again, this is playing out exactly how we've talked about it, right? This is the idea that Ethereum would bleed against Bitcoin during this quarter has continued to play out. The question is are we going to see Ethereum rally against Bitcoin in the first quarter? I don't know. I can't tell you for sure, right? There's no free lunch, but we're sure as hell going to watch to see if this pattern plays out for the 6th time in a row, and we'll be here every step of the way. So again, I would encourage people. It's not financial advice, but the idea of going all in or all out on anything is somewhat ridiculous to me, and that's why trying to time the bottom is a little bit absurd. Again, be more pragmatic and maybe just you could just take profits on the way down. And even on the way up if it continues up, and then hopefully we'll see it continue to rally. Remember, this green line, this green rectangular box, is where we said we would spend a decent amount of time during this market cycle, that Ethereum would spend an extended period of time within this, what I would call, reaccumulation band of Ethereum against Bitcoin. And so you can see so far we've done exactly that, right? We rallied to near the top. The top, by the way, is at 0.042, 0.043. The bottom is at 0.028. This is just measured from prior cooldown phases being projected to be the next reaccumulation phase. We came back down to the bottom of it. I mean, at least in the short term, it seems to be a pretty good rectangle. We have dipped below this macro trend line that I drew, but I drew this, if you think about it, I drew this trend line like 8 months ago, and I have not touched it. I have not touched this trend line for like 8 months. And maybe when we get to the beginning of the year, we should reevaluate where it is, because it hasn't gone exactly how I drew it out, right? It's come close, but we were down here, and we had a bottom slightly below and then slightly below. So not a perfect drawing, but again, I drew this back in the first quarter. If we were to redraw it, maybe we would say, it's following more, say, this trend, right? As opposed to the slightly more bullish one that I drew way back then. Maybe something like that. And that it's possible that it takes off on a slightly different trend. If we just try to color code this so we can see kind of how it compares. So maybe this is ultimately the trend that Ethereum is on against Bitcoin, and not the slightly more bullish one that we drew about 8 or 9 months ago. But I think it's fair to say it's okay to redraw a macro trend line every year or so. So we'll see if this continues to hold. Maybe I'll just leave this up and see how well it does. A lot of times I like to just draw the trend lines and then just leave them there for every video for months, so that you guys can see them and I'm not constantly changing them. But we'll see. You know, maybe we'll see if this continues to you know, kind of respect this new macroscopic view of the market, and ultimately maybe we rally up, right, as we get into December and in January. Maybe we see this rally back up to the top, and then maybe it comes back down and continues to spend some time within what we think is our reaccumulation phase of Ethereum against Bitcoin. And I mean, I think 0.05 would be a pretty reasonable level for, I mean, 0.05 is a really bullish level for the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. And one of the things I've spoken about before, there's a lot of coins that lose value against Bitcoin over the macro scale. Ethereum's not one of them. I mean, it has lost value recently, but it tends to, you know, it tends to slowly go up. So I tend to think that an Ethereum Bitcoin ratio of less than 0.02 will probably not happen during the next market cycle. I think that, you know, if Ethereum does end up peaking against Bitcoin again, let's suppose that it does something like this and continues on up throughout the years, and then peaks somewhere up here, and then maybe it comes back down. I don't think it's going to come back down to these levels. I think it will be significantly higher, and we're just, over the macro scale, we're just converging to whatever that fair value is going to be. Okay, so that's generally my thoughts on it. I don't think Ethereum's going to, over the macro scale, lose value against Bitcoin. I think it will go up, but, you know, seeing it below 0.02 is probably something we'll only see this market cycle. Probably not next market cycle, if I had to guess. But again, anything's possible. It looks like Bitcoin has kind of fallen back down a little bit from that local top near 16K. So we'll see. You know, we'll see if that continues. Again, guys, you know, if it does come back down, you know, in a world where this comes back down and it falls back through, remember, keep an eye on the 20-week, right? I mean, a lot of traditional technical analysis will tell you that, you know, ascending triangles tend to break up, right? And they do, but they could also break down, right? There's plenty of examples in the past where they break down, and then of course the narrative will shift, and people will then look back on it, and they'll delete the ascending triangle maybe, and then they'll just call this a double top, and then coming back down. So again, I would just be careful about using this type of stuff too much to try to time your trades. But if you want to, you can, right? It's just not something that I would personally recommend. Not that this is financial advice. Remember, if you guys do like the content, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. Give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. I'll try to go ahead and get into some questions here. Before I do, I will just remind you that if you want access to the premium list, you can find that at intothe.cryptoverse.com. You get access to weekly premium reports, weekly premium videos, a risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade, a Telegram alerts channel, a Telegram chat room, and some of these trading view indicators. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up at intothe.cryptoverse.com. I put it in the chat. If you want to pay with crypto for 12 months, you can get a 15% discount. I do not run any paid promotions on the channel. I do not have any affiliate links on the channel. So we have none of that on the channel. That's just the way I monetize it. So if you guys want to support the channel, you can do so through that. If not, that's fine. Just please subscribe. And I think from here, it's probably a good time to start taking questions. So I know there's probably a lot of questions that people have. If you have questions, go ahead and ask them. The last thing I'll say before I get into the questions is, remember, we do also have a public Telegram channel, and you can check that out. We have over 7,500 people, so if you're looking for a chat room, check it out. Yeah, so Polkadot. Someone asked about Polkadot. I've said many times, Polkadot is one that I think it's worth. You know, it's definitely worth picking up some, in my opinion. So let's just quickly transition on over to Polkadot, and this is one I've said before, right? You know, if we switch this over to, say, the daily time frame, Polkadot is a coin that I personally am bullish on, right? I don't say that lightly. There's 4 major coins I talk about on the channel: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. We talked about the reason for those yesterday. Maybe I'll segue into that today because we have a lot more people viewing it today. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. If you don't like ADA, that's fine. Maybe just substitute it for the altcoin of your choosing. As we've said, a lot of altcoins tend to bleed against ADA when Ethereum's bleeding, or a lot of altcoins bleed against Ethereum when Ethereum bleeds against Bitcoin. But I do contend that this is likely just a simple accumulation range of DOT, and that every cycle there's these coins that come out right at the beginning of a theoretical multi-year bull market, or depending on which cycle it was. And then can end up doing really, really quite well. And it does have a market capitalization of like when let me pull up coin market cap. So if you scroll down and you see Polkadot, you can see that the market capitalization of Polkadot is around 4 billion, and Ethereum is at 53 billion. And so seeing it's a full order of magnitude down. I personally think it would be easier for Polkadot to go from 4 billion to 40 billion than it would be for Ethereum to go from 40 billion to 400 billion. That's just the idea of looking at these, the idea that it's a lot harder to move up an order of magnitude by market cap, but it's easier for smaller projects to do so. And I do think Polkadot has a decent amount of development behind it, and will probably play a role this market cycle. So remember, the main coins that I follow are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Polkadot, and Cardano, ADA. Bella, DOT. Those 5. The other ones, as I've said before, I think that, and I said this one way back when BSV was way up here, I think that Bitcoin SV, Litecoin, and you could argue that BSV is still in the top 10 because Tether, I would not count stablecoins. I think that this one will fall out of the top 10. BSV, I think it'll fall out of the top 10. I think Litecoin will fall out of the top 10. I think BCH will fall out of the top 10. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another on Binance Coin. XRP, it's one of those coins, right? It's cool to hate it, and I don't generally talk about it because it tends to bleed against Bitcoin until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. I don't think that XRP will necessarily fall out of the top 10 this market cycle. It could, but I think it will at least lose some ranks. I think that Chainlink will overtake XRP. I also could see Polkadot and Cardano potentially overtaking XRP. I don't think that XRP will remain in the top 3 for the entire market cycle. But with that said, as much as many of you guys would maybe like to see it move out of the top 10, I'm not sure that it will move out of the top 10 this market cycle. You can see the market cap is currently 11 billion, and Chainlink is the closest one to overtaking it, and it still needs to go up 2x before it can even start flirting with the market cap of XRP. So just consider that, XRP generally is not a coin that people want to like, and you'd like to maybe see it drop down, but it does tend to pump against Bitcoin whenever Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. So that could be what's going on. And remember, it's only 25 cents right now, which is basically what it's been for the last year or two. And this is why I've always said, having a lot of money in XRP before Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high is a huge opportunity cost, because it's money you're not putting into Bitcoin. It's money you're not putting into Ethereum. It's money not going into, say, Cardano or Polkadot or Chainlink. There's a huge opportunity cost. And Link, as we made a video the other day, is king of the altcoins, right? In my opinion, is king of the altcoins. There aren't many coins that continue to stay this bullish against Ethereum. There aren't this many coins that stay this bullish against Bitcoin. Link is one of the only coins that has done this. So this is one I would definitely want to watch. And as we said yesterday, right? And I'll just go off on a brief rant here as I went off yesterday, so that people fully understand the reason behind Bella. You have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. Bitcoin and Ethereum tend to have these key moves against each other, right? Where Ethereum tends to pump against Bitcoin at pretty predictable times. Bitcoin moves sideways after it's bullish. Ethereum goes up. You have a lot of other coins that tend to bleed against Ethereum during this period of time, but Link's not one of them. And this is why we're so bullish on Link. Just look at the data. The data tells you all you need to know. The other coin that we look at is ADA. And the reason we look at that is because it has a very different trend against Ethereum. And overall, that trend is down. But the nice thing is that it tends to have these pumps that peak at that same level, right? And this is what we want to see. And the idea of maybe even being lengthening cycles between ADA and Ethereum. And so this is kind of what I envision for ADA. So if you see Ethereum pump and ADA not, it could be a nice segue into an altcoin. It doesn't have to be ADA. It could be another coin, could be VeChain if you want yourself some of that. I don't know. I mean, you can see these macro trend. We're getting close to the bottom of it. We've also had these two local tops up here. And as I said yesterday, you can use this type of analysis, this macro analysis, to not trade if you don't want to trade and don't want to deal with tax implications. If maybe you buy crypto every week or every month, you could just look at these macro trends in the market and say, okay, let me look at it. All right, Ethereum, Bitcoin is trending down in the fourth quarter, just like it always does. Maybe I'll buy that. Link is back down at this area that it's historically been at right before it has historically moved up. Maybe that's one to look into. Maybe you go over here and you say, maybe this isn't quite as low as I want it to be, because if Bitcoin volatility remains high, then Ethereum will have trouble keeping up with Bitcoin, and then altcoins will have trouble keeping up with Ethereum. So maybe I'll check back next month and see what this is doing. Same thing goes with ADA against Ethereum, etc. So the general idea again is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Bell, A for ADA, Bella. It can be another altcoin of your choosing if you prefer. I know a lot of people, because I see the comments, a lot of you guys like XGZ, but again, that also has been bleeding against Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's been bleeding against Bitcoin for a while, and it's just something you want to keep. At the bottom, it was down 60%. Now it's back up to only a 50% drop over the last few months. But be that as it may, right? I mean, these are general trends of the market against Ethereum, that when Bitcoin pumps, these altcoins tend to lose value not only against Bitcoin, but a lot of times against Ethereum. And you can see actually Atom has bled significantly this year against Ethereum. It's down from the peak at, actually that's the very end of last year, but more or less the beginning of this year, it's down like 70%. So just keep that in mind, that too much exposure in altcoins can be detrimental, because the fact that when Bitcoin pumps, Ethereum has a hard time catching up with Bitcoin, and then altcoins have a hard time keeping up with Bitcoin and also have a hard time keeping up with Ethereum. So I would say look at it from a macroscopic view. You could wait. One idea would be to wait for this type of a move, for an Ethereum move against Bitcoin. And if it does, and the Bitcoin risk is too high, then you could put that into altcoins. But I mean, obviously that's up to you. And I can't tell you what to do. I mean, you could argue. You could also make the argument that you're in an accumulation mode now of some of these altcoins, and to some degree you probably are, right? I mean, as long as you're okay with some short-term moves to the downside, but the idea that over the macro scale the trend will be back upward, you probably can't go too wrong. And remember, if you're following these Link moves, again, Link, as I said before, king of the altcoins. If you're following these Link moves, when we do pump, don't fall into the FOMO of this time is different. Right? Don't necessarily fall into that FOMO of, okay, it has to be different this time because of whatever reason. Recognize that if it does rally on back up, right, it's okay to take profits back to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin and Link are great, historically speaking, to swing trade against each other. We've been doing it on this channel for like the last year and a half. So just follow the move. As I said before, I think Chainlink is a coin that's too risky not to hold. Now, with that said, if Bitcoin corrects back down to 13K or something over the next month, a lot of coins will bleed, right? I mean, that's just common sense. A lot of coins will bleed if Bitcoin corrects back down to the future 20-week moving average at, say, $13,000 or something. If you see something play out like that, a lot of coins will bleed. But as long as you're not concerned about these short-term moves and have more of a macro view of the market, I think you're probably going to be okay. And as I've said before, Link has a way of bailing people out. I mean, even how many altcoins do you know of that were around in 2017 that have now put in higher highs now than they did back then? I mean, the peak of Link in 2017, 2018 was like less than $2. And today Link is at $13. If you think about it, about your altcoin bags, how many of them are 6 to 7 times higher than where they were back in 2017, 2018. I can guarantee you not very many of them. And if they are higher, they're probably not higher by as much as Link is, which measured from the peak, it's up a modest 766% as measured from the peak of 2018. And we're not even talking about practice. We're talking about the game. We're not even talking about the candle. We're talking about the wick. The wick takes us to over 700%. Okay? If we go to the candle and measure it, we're at almost 1,000% up from the peak in 2018. So you have to consider that there's winners and there's losers, and I see time and time again people throwing money into these random BS altcoins that they hope to make a killing off of, and sometimes they do. The downside is that when you make a lot of money on it, it's kind of like a dopamine rush, and you think you can keep doing it, but that's just not generally how the market works. There's a bull period, there's a bear market, and the bull market can bring this euphoria, and then once things turn around, you find all those random altcoins that have like $10 million market cap, so these other crypto YouTubers shield to you, are dropping 95%. So you got to be careful. You have to be careful about this strategy of throwing money into a ton of different altcoins, because of the fact that a lot of them will bleed against Bitcoin and Ethereum over the macro scale. And you might say, well, I'll just wait for the pump and sell, but will you? And that's the key thing. Like, will you sell? Will you sell? Will you sell in that situation? And that's the primary highlight, right? I mean, there's if you look at ADA against Ethereum, as we said, ADA Ethereum, and look at these general trends. I mean, I did not sell a lot of it because the risk level in USD was not that bad. And in fact, ADA has actually done quite well in USD. It's still sitting above 10 cents. But the idea is, would you sell any? And I did sell some. And at this point, I sold it to Ethereum at 235, and then Ethereum took off. So if in the future you do see this happen again and you get here, will you sell? Or is it going to is the sentiment going to be, oh no, this time it's different and it's going to continue on up higher? Okay, so I would say be pragmatic. It's better, in my opinion, to be pragmatic about things and take like, what does the data suggest is likely to happen, and from that point try to secure profits if you can, because when you look back on things, if you look back at, say, the Ethereum market cycle, and if you were one of the people all the way back here, let's say you were accumulating Ethereum back in early 2017 and you were buying it for $10. Like, if you had sold it at $1,000 right here, are you really that upset about it when you're looking at the price a couple years later and it's in the $200 to $500 range? No, you don't care, right? I mean, this is just noise. Yes, it was another 40% or so. So what? Who cares? You can't time the top, you can't time the bottom, don't worry about it. For all intents and purposes, why don't you just pretend like this was the top? Like maybe that's something you can do. Like, just say, what, let's just pretend like that didn't happen and this was the top. So I would say don't get too carried away with exactly where the peak is and exactly where the bottom is. If you're up 100x, you're up 100x. If you're up 1,000x, you're up 1,000x. And again, $1,000 investment in Ethereum in October of 2015 would have given you 1.5 million at the peak. If you had cashed it out at, say, 1 million, with $1,000 investment going from $1,000 to $1 million, so what, right? So what? So again, be pragmatic about your approach. Don't worry about timing the bottoms, timing the tops. Just stick to a systematic strategy and go with that. That's my advice, anyways. It's not financial advice, but it's just my opinion on the markets and how I like to see it. And so if you look again at these long-term trends of Link against Ethereum, we're kind of back at that lower point, right? You look at a trend against ADA against Ethereum, it could continue to come down maybe, right? And again, it's all about being pragmatic and not getting too emotionally attached to any coin, right? Don't get too emotionally attached to any coin, because if you do, then you might look at something like this and say, okay, it has to immediately come back, but you say, you know what, it might not, right? I mean, it could continue on down, and in that situation, the ADA Ethereum valuation could bleed if Ethereum pumps against Bitcoin and altcoins can't keep up. So that's generally the idea behind Bella, and the reason why we have DOT on there, Bella DOT, just BELA and then a period for DOT, is because I'm not trading it, right? I'm accumulating it. and I'm going to accumulate a position, and then I'll have something to work with in the next few years. But it's there's not enough data on it. It's kind of to me, I don't think it's going to have returns like Ethereum did during the last market cycle. But when Ethereum first launched onto the market, it had a pretty crazy start, and then it had this period of sideways movement as well before it took off. So I'm not saying DOT's going to overtake Ethereum. I own way more Ethereum than I would Polkadot. I mean, like way more, several times more Ethereum than Polkadot. I own several times more Ethereum than ADA. Ethereum's my number 2. But just recognize that this is the purpose the coins serve. And if you find yourself with 30 different altcoins, look at their Ethereum valuation. Are they all bleeding against Ethereum? If so, why are you holding on to 100 different altcoins? Because a lot of times they tend to behave in the same manner. Remember, if you guys, oh wow, we have 1,100 people viewing. I don't know if it's ever been this high. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. We have not even 400 likes. Maybe we can get to 1,000 likes. I've only gotten to 1,000 likes on a live stream 2 times in the past. So maybe this will be a video that we can actually get to 1,000 likes. We still have a ways to go. But again, please subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. And remember, if you guys want access to the premium content, you can always check it out at intothecryptoverse.com. You get access to the weekly premium videos, the weekly premium reports, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, and the risk dashboard, and some of the TradingView indicators. And you can pay with crypto for 12 months and get a 15% discount. So from here, I think we've covered a lot. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin's at 15.8. If we look at the hourly chart, we're still kind of flirting with this top here. If it does break out, maybe we'll see it on stream. If it doesn't, be prepared. And if we do go back down, as a reminder, the 20-week moving average is currently at around 11,452. But of course, this depends on exactly what exchange you want to use. So with that said, let me post the Telegram chat one more time for those who want to join there, and I'll try to get into some more questions. Okay, so sorry. Let me try to get into some of these questions. Okay, I need to pause the chat. So, do you expect altcoins to bleed heavily as Bitcoin enjoys price discovery? Even bigger coins like Link, ADA, not necessarily microcap. I think they'll probably bleed against Bitcoin if Bitcoin continues on in price discovery mode. They probably will bleed against Bitcoin. For altcoins, we need Bitcoin to just chill out. If Bitcoin does not chill out and continues to do this type of stuff, and looking at the weekly time frame, if it continues to print bars that we're essentially just going up week over week, then I would not expect any major moves from any altcoins against Bitcoin. Yeah, you might see Link rally to like $14 or something if Bitcoin continues to do well, but I would not anticipate a Link rally against Bitcoin until Bitcoin volatility cools off. And we know this just by looking at the covariance matrix as we calculate risk-adjusted returns and seeing that negative volatility of Bitcoin tends to offset positive volatility of Link and vice versa. So I would wait. Not wait. If you don't have Link, if I didn't have Link, I would buy some now, right? If I didn't have Link, but buying some at this level is very risky because it's rallied significantly. Remember, if you on the premium list, we talked about buying it when the risk got below 0.5. That happened twice over the last few weeks. It happened in this region on this wick down here, and it also happened at this wick here. So it happened between 7 and 8, and then between 8 and 9. So that's where I picked up a lot of Link. If I didn't have any, I would buy some here, but I would be a lot more concerned about its short-term moves. Not that I would be that concerned about it, because I think the general trend will continue up. But if you buy Link at $13 and Bitcoin goes back to 13,000, then there's a good chance that Link is going to come back down to 10 or 11 bucks at the very least. So that's just something to consider. And this is why I say, right, trying to time the top or bottom is very difficult. And it's better to take a more systematic dollar cost average approach, because no single person on YouTube or Twitter or in this world can tell you exactly where the bottom or the top is. We can try to get as close as we can, but we're not going to know where it is. Okay, Franco says, I agree with your lengthening cycle theory. I, however, wonder if real events such as we saw this year might act as accelerators. I don't think so. I mean, I'm certainly not going to play that card if it does turn out to be a 4-year cycle. I'm not going to blame it on external events. I'll just say, the data suggested this, and I was wrong, right? I'm not going to blame it on anything else. I still think that the cycles are in fact lengthening. I don't think that we are going to even see anywhere close to $100,000 Bitcoin in 2021, but maybe Bitcoin will prove me wrong. We'll see what happens, but I don't think it's going to necessarily accelerate it forward by that much. Someone says, yeah, Charlie Lee was the only man to call the top. Yeah, he sold a lot of Litecoin near the top during the last market cycle. If you only have 2 coins, what's the Bitcoin link ratio? That depends on how risky you want to be, right? I mean, there's a different thing. Like if you're say like young and in your 20s and you have the money to burn, or if you're in your 50s and you want to make sure you're securing retirement, right? There's not a one size fits all approach to this. You just have to figure out how risky you want to be and then act accordingly. It's silly to think that some YouTuber is going to tell you necessarily what's best for your situation, because it varies significantly from person to person. I mean, if you bought Bitcoin at 16K, I mean, over the macro scale, there's probably a good chance you'll be bailed out. Over the short term, yeah, it's a toss up, right? I mean, that's a complete toss up. If in fact, if in fact you think that if it's going to bail you out in the short term, there's no guarantee of that by any means. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys want to follow along with future videos. Turn on the notifications and give the video a thumbs up. We are almost at 600 likes. By the way, there are, given the bull market, there are a lot of scammers going around. I've noticed on the comments to my videos. So just a fair warning, if you see someone that's like pretending to be me, they're using my name and picture in the comments of YouTube, and they're asking you for anything like personal information, or they're telling you to contact a phone number or someone on WhatsApp or Telegram, it's not me. And there's a quick test to see if it's me. Click on the person, even if it says my name. Click on the face, even if it looks like it's me. If they don't have the videos that you see on their channel that I have, if they don't have the subscribers, then it's not me. Like if someone's pretending to be me and they have 1 subscriber and they're asking you for information, just know that it's not me. I think that most people don't need to hear that, and that you're aware of that. But just on the off chance that helps someone avoid being scammed, I just wanted to put that out there, right? There's a lot of scammers in the space. And they're going around not just on my YouTube channel, they're going around everywhere. Spencer says, do you think Litecoin is only worth buying once Bitcoin hits the all-time high? I think yes. I think there's 2 times. I think after Bitcoin hits the all-time high, probably, maybe at the end of the bull market, and actually maybe a 3rd time as well, maybe like half a year, or maybe 3 to 6 months before the Litecoin halving tends to be a decent time. But for the most part, I don't think that Litecoin would be worth holding right now. And it's not to say that it can't go up. I mean, if the market trends up, it will too. But it's just that $1 in Litecoin is $1 not somewhere else. And I would much prefer Ethereum over Litecoin. I would much prefer Chainlink over Litecoin. Yeah, Truth Seeker, you can see it's a fake. I would say just report them, right? Report them, make sure we get them banned, because I hide them from the channel as quickly as I can. But I mean, scammers are going to scam. There's people that just literally have nothing better to do with their life, and so just try to report them and get them removed. Spencer, I just answered your question, specifically your question, so you don't need to spam the same question. Someone says, have you done a risk metric superimposed over Ethereum 2017 bubble? Would you have bought? Yeah, it actually did go back down to the buying levels for like 4 weeks. It went back down to the buying levels between the pumps. So I think what you're talking about is this here. Okay, so there was this one in 2016, and then it came back down. And so it would have allowed you to repurchase Ethereum in 2017. I know. So. And I think even here too. I think even here too was another short-term accumulation opportunity. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. It's still at 15.8. Of course it is, because I'm on stream. It's not going to do anything. Buying level? I mean, as I said before, I think it's an accumulation phase now. Someone says, how do we know that I'm the real Ben? I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe I'm not. I do have a twin brother. I'll let you guys think about that for a few minutes. Actually, here's a fun fact. You might not have known about me. So I have a twin brother, and my wife is a triplet actually. So I'm a twin. My wife's a triplet. That's just something to. Now you know me a little bit better, I guess. All right, Miro, I will hide you if you want to be a troll. Someone said I got forked. Is that because I have a twin? No, we're not. We're not identical twins. I guess identical twins would be like a fork because then you have an egg splitting. We're fraternal, so it's not a fork. I no longer work as a postdoc. I got promoted. If you want to check if a scammer is the real Dan, asking the question about silica, yeah. All right, Samyak Meta looks like he wants to be hidden because he's spamming on the channel. So goodbye. A side chain, yeah. Someone says their family doctor looks like me. What is the mathematical chance your kid isn't? I have 3 kids, and none of them are twins. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Let's get it to 47,000 subscribers. And give the video a thumbs up. I think that we can make it to 1,000 likes. I've only made it to 1,000 likes 2 times in a live stream, so I think we'll do it this time. Someone asked how old I am. I'm kind of curious. How old do you think I am? $45. I'm not 45. Wow. So it seems like most people think I'm in my mid to late 30s. Some people think I'm in my 40s. Some people think I'm in my 50s or 60s. I'm getting some low 30s, some mid 30s. All right, I'm 30. I'm 30. I'm only 30 years old. I'm not 32, not 36, not 38. I'm 30. Yeah, I mean, okay. Think about it. Like, I graduated undergrad in 2000. I graduated high school in 2008. I graduated undergrad in 2012. I finished my master's in 2015. I finished my PhD in 2018. I finished my postdoc in 2020, and that's where I am. So I'm 30 years old. It takes me from a high schooler up to 30. Here I am. Yeah, I do have three kids. One of them's four, one of them's one, and one of them is a month old. So one's actually pretty new. I wanted to name him Ethereum or Ether, but that was a no go. I do contend with my wife though that if we have a girl, we should name her Isabella for Bella, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and Ada. I'm not sure how successful I'll be if we ever do have a girl on getting her named that, but I can't believe you had another kid before there was enough data on the other two. I was joking. I was joking. I said this in another live stream about like the length of the pregnancies, the first two. So my wife's first pregnancy was like 39 weeks, and then the second one was like 38 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, the evidence is there. We're going to experience shortening cycles. And yeah, just as I predicted, the next baby came earlier in terms of the length of the pregnancy than the first two did. So shortening cycles. And you guys thought shortening cycles weren't a thing. Will my wife and kids ever appear on stream? Actually, there's a couple streams where my 4-year-old has come on. So if you look at a couple streams, I think my 4-year-old appeared in a couple of them. I want to say there was maybe, I don't know if it was the halving stream or it was right around the halving, but I think my 4-year-old like came up to me and was he like sat in my lap or something for a little and said hi to the stream, and then he like pulled off an engineering textbook from the bookshelf and was like reading it for like 30 minutes while I was on stream. And I ended up getting off stream because everyone was telling me to go play with him. So I mean, to me right now, it looks like we're coming back down a little bit here, which is fine. I mean, this is business as usual. And in fact, remember the 20-week moving average is all the way down at 11,452. And if we do drop over the next few weeks back down, it could correspond to the 20-week moving average. This is going to keep going up. So if we come down to meet it, right, it could look something like that, and then we just continue on our merry way, and then maybe we look back on it and say, okay, maybe that's our trend or something, right? Like this is the general trend up or something. I don't know. Um, it's possible Bitcoin goes to 20K, right? This is always a possibility in the short term, but again, I think it would be a short term bubble. I don't think it would be sustainable. John says, what did I get my PhD in? Nuclear engineering. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content, and give the video a thumbs up. Let's get to 1,000 likes. If you try to get 6-figure ROI this cycle, would I rather put money into smaller coins instead of Bitcoin and Ethereum? I would still get some Bitcoin and Ethereum because, I mean, you see what happens when Bitcoin goes up. It leaves everything else behind. I would still get some Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you could always pick up a couple altcoins. But I don't think it would be wise to necessarily go altcoin hunting and just throw like $1,000 at 100 different altcoins. Someone says our only regret is only having one like to give. It's okay, we gotta do our part. Yeah, the gaps don't have to fill, right? I mean, like, saying it builds trust is just a way to keep people from potentially buying Bitcoin, and then they FOMO in later. You might say that they fill. Yeah, they fill during bear markets and accumulation phases just because of natural volatility. But we didn't have a bull market with these in the past, so we don't know if they're going to fill. And I said all along, like, in my opinion, it's silly to think that they have to fill. It's silly to sit on the sidelines on the idea that they have to fill. Because what if you're wrong, right? No one here claims to know exactly what's going to happen. And if you think you do know exactly what's going to happen, my only response is, what if you are wrong? Is it worth betting the family farm on the idea that Bitcoin has to fill the CME gap on the daily time frame at $9,600? And we said months ago that it's too risky not to hold Bitcoin. Therefore, if we fill it, great. Then the gap boys will just shut up. But if we don't fill it, then the gap boys are going to continue squawking about it until Bitcoin is maybe at $30,000-$40,000, and even then they'll still be saying, oh, it's going back to $9,600 any day now. Yeah, we can't risk the family farm, guys. I was not raised in a barn. Despite the fact that I talk about family farms, I was not raised in a barn. Connor is a 17-year-old. He's asking, as a 17-year-old, would having a larger percentage of my portfolio in alts be better due to my higher risk tolerance as a younger person? It's a catch-22, right? You could look at it from both perspectives. Like, one perspective to look at it from is, okay, you're 17 years old. I don't know how much you're investing, and I don't want to know. But let's just say it's $10,000. If you put that $10,000 into the market, you could split it over, say, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Link, something like that. And maybe that 10,000 could turn into 100,000, maybe more over the course of a market cycle. And so you could see yourself having a decent amount of money in that regard. Or maybe what you're talking about is gambling on very risky altcoins that have like less than $10 million market caps. It could work out for you, but what if it doesn't? What if they go to zero? So the idea, and again, these probabilities are just pie in the sky. Like, would you rather have like a 50% probability of getting to 100K, or like a 5% probability of getting to 300K? Like, what would you prefer? Because if you take the more take the more conservative route, then at least you're having a much higher probability of increasing your wealth, so that then after the market cycle you're sitting at 100K or whatever it might be, and then you can invest that. But if you say invest your money into altcoins so then go to zero, then you don't even have that to continue on. So I mean, you're still pretty early. There's nothing wrong with picking up a couple altcoins. And I've said before, right, if you want to go invest in microcaps, you can. And I've said many times, I own a couple of them myself. Am I going to tell you what they are? No, I'm not, because I'm not here to pump microcap coins. I don't want to move the market. And I don't want it to appear like it's like a pump and dump or anything like that. So I'm not going to talk about microcap coins. But if there's like one or two pet projects you have out there that you think are worth following for the duration of the market cycle, and you want to see what they can do, there's nothing wrong with putting like a very small amount in them. But again, I would not focus on them. Like completely excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Link, in my opinion, would be a bad choice. Even if you somehow pick the perfect altcoin and it goes up 100x, I would still contend that it probably wasn't the best choice. Like, you can get lucky, but you don't need crypto to get lucky. I mean, you can get lucky at a casino. So that's generally my thinking on that. It's not about your returns, it's about your risk-adjusted returns. And also, you have to consider, too, that even if you do get one of those risky altcoins, will you sell at the top? Because they can pump like crazy. They can also drop 90% in a week. So that's just something to consider. I hope that answered your question. The risk charts are not live on the premium list, but you can access the live risk levels, the numerical risk levels, and the risk charts are put in the weekly reports. And Connor, to follow up on that, I mean, like, imagine right now, like, imagine if you had put like a lot of money on altcoins 2 months ago, and you had completely excluded Bitcoin. Look what Bitcoin has done. It's gone up 50%, and a lot of altcoins haven't done anything. So I'm not saying you should go buy Bitcoin right this instant, but if one idea is to see, okay, well, Bitcoin will probably test the 20-week at some point, and we know that historically speaking, the 20-week moving average, at least in a bull market, is our support line. So that's something to consider, right? That in a bull market, the 20-week is our support line. Doesn't mean we're going to hold it. You could invest at the 20-week and it might not hold, but it's a lot less risky, in my opinion, in putting money in at the 20-week than putting money in after a 50% pump over a month, right? Remember to subscribe to the channel. Help me get to I guess I want to get to 50,000 subscribers, but we got to get to 47,000 first. So let's try to get to 47,000. And remember, give the video a thumbs up. We are almost at 1,000 likes. We just need about 200 more likes, and we'll be at 1,000 likes. If you listen, maybe you can hear my 1-month-old. Yeah, the lifetime subscription to the premium list is available. If you want access, you just have to reach out to me through the website. You can email me. But yeah, it is available. Are we getting a special episode at 50,000 subscribers? We could. What do you guys want? What do you want at 50,000 subscribers? The nice thing about subscribers on crypto YouTube is that you can increase subscribers when Bitcoin is going up or down. It's when it goes sideways that people lose interest, and then they start going outside or something crazy like that. Huh. A drunk stream? Is the logarithmic regression band ready for trading view? Yeah, if you sign up to the premium list, you can get access to the regression band, not trading view. We're not going to do giveaways on the channel. The reason is because then I want to get to 50,000 subscribers, but I want them to be like quality subscribers, right? I mean, if you start doing giveaways on the channel, then you're just attracting people that are just constantly chasing these like giveaways or like airdrops and that kind of stuff. And I think it would significantly lower the quality of the subscribers to the channel. So we're not going to do any giveaways. And that's the same reason why I also don't show you guys affiliate links, because I don't expect you guys to do it, and if I don't expect you guys to do it, then I shouldn't do it either. Someone asked me about BNB. You know what? We'll take a look at it. Primarily just because it is in the top 10. I don't talk about it that much, and the current price is higher than where it was in 2018 or so. So I mean, yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts about it, right? And I don't typically talk about BNB, but if Binance does maintain decent market share, I mean, if it remains one of the leaders, then maybe this will continue to improve. I'm just like kind of looking at it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't really know what it's going to do, but we'll see what happens. I mean, you can see it's been on a pretty nice uptrend here for the last few months. We already talked about Polkadot. No affiliate links. We already talked about Chainlink a lot in this video. Yeah, I mean, we don't typically talk about the Fibonacci retracement stuff because when I made this channel, I was like, what can I do different from other people, right? What can I do different? And everyone does that, right? Everyone looks at Fibonacci. Everyone looks at a lot of short-term analysis, and so I was like, okay, I need to do something different. Otherwise, I'm just more of the same. So let's do something different. So I don't really talk about that as much on the channel. And you can find, I mean, it's not that it's not necessarily useful. It's just that you can find that plenty of other places. What do I think about Tom Brady? I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time watching him play for the Buccaneers. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I'm so used to seeing him play for the Patriots that like it's hard for me to like accept that he's not with them anymore. Hobbies of a nuclear engineer. Well, I play a lot of board games. Maybe you can see a lot of them on that bookshelf back there. Yeah, so there's a lot of board games back there. I also play tennis. I like playing soccer, ultimate frisbee, disc golf. I like playing chess. If you guys, I've done a few chess games on the live streams before as well. So those are some of the main hobbies. But it's hard to have a lot of hobbies. I have a full-time job. I do the crypto YouTube channel. I have a family. I have 3 kids. So it's hard to have too many hobbies. Someone says I look like I'm a Settlers of Catan type of guy. That's an okay game. It's like the gateway game, but it's not really that complex. I prefer harder, more strategic games. I like playing like Through the Ages. Terra Mystica is one. So some of these more complicated games. Settlers of Catan is kind of playing in the sandbox, I think. I have not watched Queen's Gambit, no. Have I played Twilight Imperium? I've not, but I have it. If you look up at the top of the bookshelf up there, I have Twilight Imperium up at the top. I've not played it yet though. Bitcoin or precious metals? Bitcoin. It has much better risk-adjusted returns than precious metals. The Sharpe ratio is much higher. If I had to just pick Bitcoin or precious metals, I'd pick Bitcoin. Easy. Reminder to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 1,000 likes. We're at 850, so let's try to get there. Looks like Bitcoin's cooled off a little bit here, but we'll see if it goes back up. And I mean, of course, Ethereum's cooling off as well. It's back to 466, but this is it's not surprising. I've never played Magic the Gathering, no. We don't talk about leverage on the channel. Which coin will have the best ROI this cycle? I don't know. this is why I buy a few of them. And it also depends on how you're measuring it. Like, are you measuring it from bottom? Or are you measuring it from now? Like, what are you measuring it from? Because if you're measuring it from bottom, I would probably say Chainlink if you're talking about the four main coins that I follow between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. If you're measuring it from now, I mean, I really don't know. I mean, Chainlink's already up 10x from the bottom in March. Someone says Ethereum to break out if Bitcoin goes sideways right now. Yeah, but I mean, it depends on what you mean by right now. It doesn't mean like 5 minutes from now. It means like, if Bitcoin can start going sideways systematically over a longer period of time, then we'll see a break, right? I mean, looking at a short-term move is nothing because over the macro scale, the trend could still theoretically be down. Any given day or week, it can change, but we want to see a systematic and fundamental shift, not just a short-term shift. So we'll see what happens, but do I get tired of people asking stupid questions? Um, I mean, like, I don't necessarily. I get tired of people asking me like the same questions. Um, like that's kind of tiresome. I mean, I can't necessarily hold it against them because you can't expect someone to watch the entire live stream. But at the same time, right, for people that are tuning in for the entire live stream, I shouldn't have to repeat the same answer like 5 times. Hey Brian, stop spamming the chat. Otherwise, I'm removing it. I'm removing you. All right, Brian, last chance. All right, Brian, I will oblige you if you want me to remove you. I will. If I can actually click on it. There we go. All right, bye, Brian. Everyone say bye to Brian. I don't understand. Like, why do people just join chats and then spam it? Right? Like, what's the point? Is it healthy for Bitcoin to visit 3K or 13K? Yeah, I think. I mean, if Bitcoin visits 13K, over the next few weeks, business as usual, right? Nothing too crazy. I just made a video before this stream talking about, okay, well, based on the prior stuff, we even talked about it in the stream, right? Like, when could we expect a correction? So I'll publish that video after this stream is over. Yeah, I mean, it could go down, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? You could say it's a good thing if we can go to 13K, hold it as support, and then go back up. That would be a really great thing. If we continue to go up to 20K, then probably a big short-term bubble pop is coming. If Bitcoin goes below the 20-week EMA or moving average, does your cycle theory not hold any longer? Well, I mean, I think we're experiencing lengthening cycles. So if it does go below the 20-week, I feel like it would even further validate that we're not going to 100K next year, which I don't think we will. Like, I don't think we're going to go to 100K next year. Someone says, give us a rundown of what we talked about so far. I think primarily we've said Bitcoin goes up and Bitcoin goes down, but it mainly goes up. I think that does a pretty good recap of what we've talked about. Remember to subscribe. We're almost at 900 likes. Trying to shoot for 1,000 likes. If you haven't liked the video yet, give it a thumbs up. What ratio of Bitcoin Ethereum would I recommend? It depends on your risk tolerance, of course. Actually, if you calculate out risk-adjusted returns of a Bitcoin and Ethereum portfolio since 2015 based on historical volatility and historical returns, it's like 68% Bitcoin. Actually, no, I think it's 69% Bitcoin, I think, and maybe like 29% Ethereum or something like that. But that's just risk-adjusted returns based on historical price and historical volatility. We're seeing it come back down a little. So it kind of has retested the same area for the third time. If we were to go back to the bottom of this, it would be around 15.3. But again, I don't know what's going to happen in the short term. We focus on long-term stuff. We're just watching the price in the short term. David says, why an academic guy like you doesn't find a job in a university or an institute? I do have a full-time job in computational material science, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I do change a lot of diapers on my kids. Someone says, is it surprising seeing Bitcoin price go up parabolic above 20K? It's not going parabolic above 20K right now. Maybe we're looking at a different chart. It's currently at 15K. Yeah, I have my doctorate. Yeah, it's coming down pretty quickly. We'll see if it continues. Remember, I mean, we're still pretty overvalued right now, in terms of where Bitcoin is. I mean, going up 50% in a month is quite drastic. So again, as we said before, we'll see if the rally continues, but at the same time, don't be that surprised if don't be that surprised if we just come back down for a little bit, test the 20-week, and continue on our journey. Right, this is always a possibility. What's the ratio of men to women on my channel? It's 95, based on the YouTube statistics, it's 95% men, 95% male, and 5% female. So there's only like 5% of people that watch my channel that are women. So if we have 1,000 viewers, then statistically speaking, 50 of them are women. 50 of them. I'm not assuming anyone's gender. I'm just telling you what YouTube assumes, and I'm assuming YouTube is using whatever you told them you were. So where do you guys think Bitcoin's going? Like, do you think Bitcoin's going to break through 16K in the coming weeks and climb higher, or do you think it's going to retrace a bit and try to find support lower down? Some people say 12K, some people say 13K, some people say 16K, then 13.5, then 20, 17 to 12 to 20 to 15. Someone says maybe down to 9 to 11K. Yeah, if we were to go sideways for a few weeks, that would at least give time for coins like Ethereum and maybe some other coins like Chainlink to start moving up. MT says 16 to 20, back to 14. Kim says the 4 hour is still bullish. Here's the 4 hour chart. Oh, we're almost there, guys. We're almost at 1,000 likes. Final push to 1,000 likes. We're at 953. Let's get to 1,000. And also subscribe to the channel while you're at it if you guys like the content and like hearing me ramble about the markets from time to time. Look at that. Bitcoin's back at 15.7, corresponding to getting to 1,000 likes. Someone says, will Bitcoin ever hit 5K? I doubt it. I mean, if you take a look at like the 300-week moving average, which is where we wicked to at the bottom of the last one, even the 300-week is at 4,900 now. And I don't think we're going to dump to it in the immediate future. So I highly doubt that 5,000 is on the cards. The 200-week moving average is at 7,100. So you can see where the 200-week moving average is, and as we showed before, you can see the 200-week moving average is exiting the regression band, and the last cycle where it exited the regression band was right around the time it held the 20-week or slightly before it, and then again, as we've showed before, it re-entered the regression band right here, which was at the top. So it'll be interesting to see if that same thing happens, right? Like if Bitcoin, if the regression band, if the regression band and the 200-week moving average diverge, and you see something like this, and then eventually maybe it'll come up back into the regression band or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but um, this is so this would continue going up, right? How do I draw regression bands on TradingView? It's just Pine script. You just put in your regression equation, and then you can put it on the chart. I don't typically talk about leverage on the channel now. I'll remind you that if you like the channel and you want to support it, we do not have any paid promotions or any referral links. But if you do want access to extra content, you can sign up at intothecryptoverse.com and get access to weekly reports, weekly videos, a private Telegram alerts channel, a risk dashboard, and some of the TradingView indicators. And you can pay for 12 months with crypto if you want a 15% discount. So check that out. And then also, as a reminder, if you want to join a Telegram community, we do have a Telegram community. We have over 7,500 people in that chat. So if you want to join it, I'll also link that as well. Lane says, wow, someone trying to call a Head and Shoulders. How original. I've not mentioned Head and Shoulders one time in this video, so I'm not really sure what narrative you're pushing. What's exactly in the premium list? It's like a weekly video. So like if you like these videos, I put out like generally it's like a 30 to 40 minute video, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more every week. Usually it's like a special topic. Like last week I went over what did I go over? Last week was the addition of TradingView indicators to the premium list. The week before I actually went over the range of portfolio percentage that I keep the various coins at. To give people an idea. And the week before that was we talked about like trading Bitcoin within the confines like of an IRA or something that tracks Bitcoin. So we have like a special topic every week, and then you get access to like a Telegram alerts channel where I put out like generally daily thoughts on the markets, and then a risk dashboard, the risk levels. This is what I use to trade. So yeah, you get access to a lot of things, and the nice thing about signing up is you get access to all the prior reports and videos too. So that's something to consider. Oh, Lane, sorry, I see you're not you're talking about someone else. Okay, that's fine. I mean, book recommendations. It depends on what you're interested in. I mean, I generally read nonfiction, but I don't know what your taste is. I don't know if people I don't the problem with offering different tiers is that it's like a lot of extra administrative work I have to deal with. It's easier just to have one tier that like everyone like if you sign up you just get access to everything. John says my problem is I just want to wait. If I sell at certain points, I'm scared of it going higher. I don't think there's anything to be scared about, right? I mean, if you take profits, you take profits. Like you don't need to be scared about it. If it goes higher, it goes higher. I mean, there's all sorts of assets in the world that you might sell that'll eventually go higher. It doesn't mean you need to be scared about going higher. Adam says, coming from a computational background, how come you don't do any algorithmic trading? I guess I would respond, how do you know I don't do any algorithmic trading? Yeah, thanks for getting to 1,000 likes. We're at 1,039. I think this is the third time we've reached 1,000 likes in a live stream. No, I haven't really looked at adding subscriptions to the chat. The stock market is getting pretty heated. Um, we've talked about this in prior videos, but it is getting pretty heated right now. I'm just basing it off the risk metric. That I tend to sell some stocks when the risk levels of the stocks get to point 0.8. So that's what I'm referring to. I mean, the algorithmic trading stuff is, I mean, it can be profitable, but you have to also be careful too. Sometimes if you have a lot of trading bots, when you're trading them in say like a bear market, they basically just hemorrhage money. Um, it can be fun in games when altcoins are moving up and they're just trading back and forth, but the minute that changes, it can be a completely different story. I do work full time, yes. Yeah, I'm doing home office. I just use my own risk metric. Sorry, I'm not going to give you advice how I'm going long or short on the market. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that goes into the risk metric is mainly just price, time, and volatility. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, should we call it here? It's starting to, I mean, Bitcoin's not really moving that much right now. We've been on the stream for about an hour and 45 minutes. So typically around 2 hours is kind of like my, as far as I'll go here. Yeah, I think we should probably call it. Um, remember, go subscribe to the channel if you guys like it, and that way you can see future streams. Give the video a thumbs up. A final reminder: we have the premium list into thecryptoverse.com if you want access to more stuff, and then we also have the Telegram channel, which I will link as well. So lots of ways you can stay involved. You can find me in the Telegram chat fairly frequently, so I'll post that if you guys want to join. That'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe, like, turn on alerts, and I'll see you next time. Bye.